Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the United Stand. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. show. Today's news, there's loads of stuff flooding in. There's so much stuff. We've actually had to change the title and thumbnail so many times. It's crazy. But first news is on the possible Aubameyang deal. Now, personally for me, this is, and I've got written down in bold capital letters, 5 no's. No, 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 no. Is that 5? I think so. Basically, we know about Aubameyang, right? We know about him from his time at Arsenal. We know about all this Arsenal all or nothing. We've seen the situation, and we know that this guy is a possible troublemaker. Yeah, he's known for it. That's why he was gradually sort of taken out of the squad and then was kind of disposed of, really, right? And I think another thing to lead off the back of this, he's 33, right? And I'm not sure when he's going to be 34, but this is, again, it shows it's just another desperation stopgap signing. And I dread to think how far down the pecking order, honestly, like these players are just getting offered out and Manchester United just keep going, oh yeah, we might have him, see what we can get him for, see what we can get Aubameyang for. And it's really frustrating. I hate to see it. Yes, he was decent in the Premier League as a footballer, right? He scored, I've got his stats here, I can see he scored basically loads of goals. In the 1920 season, he scored 29 goals in 44 games. In the 2021 season, he scored 15 goals in 39 games. And in the season after that, he scored 20 goals in 38 games. And look, that's probably the only positive from this, is that he will score goals in the Premier League. But for me, again, it just screams desperation, and it doesn't make sense. He'll come in as one of the highest earners, obviously. Like, he's not going to come to Manchester United, especially after being at Arsenal and on a ridiculous wage there, bear in mind, being their captain as well. To then move to Barcelona, and now to the possibility of coming here. No doubt he is obviously going to be on a ridiculous wage, right? And I'm not sure what you guys think. Get your comments down in the comment section below on what you think about this possible Aubameyang deal. But I think again, for me, I need to kind of emphasize the fact that it isn't what we need. It's just another sort of polarizing figure that's going to come in and stir the pot, right? Like you can see the state that our club is in, and we don't need any kind of people coming in and just stirring it anymore. And I think for me, obviously, it's looking more and more likely that Ronaldo is going to be leaving. Obviously, there was the Ronaldo bits that came out that Mark was talking about on the earlier show. And I think, yeah, it's not a good look for Manchester United to be going for these types of players. Because he's going to come in on a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal, probably on between 200 and 300 grand a week. We'll obviously have to pay Barcelona a fee as well. I think obviously when Chelsea were in for him, or they still are, you're looking at what 20 to 30 million as well. So it's a fair chunk of money to be putting out. And I know obviously if Ronaldo was to leave, that we'd obviously save a significant wage there, whatever Ronaldo's on. He did supposedly take the pay cut for obviously missing out on Champions League. But I think at the end of the day, yeah, Paul Woolley said it perfectly there. Wrong type of player for me. And I think that is it ultimately. It is the wrong type of player. The only positive I can think of is that he will probably come in, if he does, and score 10, 15 goals if he does get the game time. I think that is and maybe that is ultimately what Erik ten Hag wants. But to me, it doesn't. Even if he brought him in just to get the goals and was kind of trying to forget about all the stuff that he could stir up in the situation of the dressing room and all that, I think it doesn't really make sense. And yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me, guys. And I think you guys need to obviously get your comments down. We're turning into a retirement home club. I think that's the thing as well. We're trying to sign these players that are 30 plus, right? And it really doesn't make sense. I don't get it. And
especially it's just when we're doing a rebuild and we're trying to get these 1-2 year contracts. What does it say for Erik ten Hag and the situation that he's in, and he's trying to get in these young, talented, hungry players, the likes of Antony, even Frankie de Jong. But and we're obviously not going out there and getting them. So we're then having to resort to these players that are mid-low 30s. And again, it just shows I don't get it. I really don't get it. And again, I mean, loads of people are saying, no, 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 you know, the club is in chaos. And this is it, right? You know, I understand that, again, as I said, this is a desperation signing. I do get it. I do understand. But you look at the players we've brought in the past who have been strikers. You know, Lukaku didn't work out. We spent significant money on him. I think again, what does it say for Martial? You've got Martial, who's admittedly been injured for 2 games, but had a good preseason, looked quite good. And with Ronaldo leaving, what does it say? Is Martial not going to get the game time? Is he going to be moved on? Does Ten Hag not totally trust him? I mean, obviously we're going to have to wait and find out, right? And I think yeah, the comments are screaming for it, you know, about it's not fair ultimately. You know, it's really not fair to see all these clubs, Man City, Chelsea, obviously making signings that they need. You know, Man City have gone out there and replaced Zinchenko. Admittedly, it's not like a big name, but they've gone out there and replaced the position that they lost, right? And Manchester United just aren't doing that. They're not going out there and replacing a position or even adding to a certain position with the right type of player for that the manager wants. And I just don't get it. I really, really don't get it. But yeah, Martial will play on the wing. Will he? Will he play on the wing though? Like, I don't know if that's actually like a viable option. Yes, we've seen him on the wing a couple of times, like during the last few seasons. But is he that guy that's going to, you know, be revitalized? Yes, you know, Rashford and Sancho haven't been too great, right? But I think, you know, you never know in this day and age. Martial's obviously had a very hard time at Manchester United. You know, he come in, Zlatan took the number 9 off of him. He's had obviously Ronaldo come in. He then went out on loan, and it's very difficult for him. But I think he could be half decent for Manchester United this year. But I just don't see it. If we're going out there and looking at Aubameyang for this 20 to 30 million fee, that I'm only guessing it's going to be around there, because obviously that's the fee that Chelsea were kind of lingering around. I'm not sure. And are they even gonna want to sell to us? Because we're obviously still pursuing the Frankie de Jong deal, and if we then give them money for, you know, the likes of Aubameyang, and we're obviously linked to Dest as well, we can get onto that later on. But are we just not funding them money so then they don't have to sell Frankie de Jong? Is that like a viable option? They're just kind of, obviously the more they offload, the more money they obviously recoup, and then they're not needing to sell Frankie de Jong. I don't know if that's a thing which obviously has been considered. Sloppy seconds FC. It's not even sloppy seconds, mate. It's genuinely like we're talking like fourths. Alba will command 400-500 grand a week. I don't think it'd be that much. I think you'd look between 200 and 300 grand a week, and I think that's still way too much. I think, again, it's ridiculous, and I don't understand. To me personally, I'd much rather just, if Ronaldo does leave, I agree, we need to go out there and purchase a forward. But is there really no one else out there that's a younger option? Honestly, I'd prefer Jamie Vardy over Aubameyang. I'll be honest with you, I genuinely would. I don't know what you guys think, but honestly, Vardy would be better in my eyes than Aubameyang. I think if you bring Aubameyang in, and he's going to demand that he plays, you know, very often, that then obviously pushes probably Martial out the team, upsets the dressing room or Martial that way. And I think it's a very difficult situation that Ten Hag is or you know, Murta and that are putting themselves in. I think it is a very difficult one. A few people are saying I'd take Alba for 25 mil, but it's not. This is the thing, right? 25 million can seem okay for Aubameyang, you know, and you look at it, he's going to score goals in the Premier League, but it's going to be a huge chunk of the wages. 25 million on a deal that's probably going to last no longer than maybe at most, I'd say 3 years, right? And then you're looking at, he's 36 by the end of his contract. Like we can't keep going for these aging players year in, year out. You know, we've been there, we've done the Cavani's, the Igalos, the Falcaos, etc. Like it really doesn't make sense. And we can obviously move on to a little bit about Casimero. Obviously, we were linked with him again. This would be another, I guess, aging player. A little bit different though. obviously he would be on a huge wage. And yeah, I think, you know, obviously, you guys know there's a lot of stories floating around. There was a tweet I saw that it was Manchester United were ready to kind of throw, I think it was like 80 million. I don't know if that was pounds or euros. I imagine it was euros. But yeah, to throw that amount of money at him, and I mean, Christ, like that obscene amount of money for I think he's around 30. And I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I actually filmed a video this morning around Scott McTominay and talked about Casimero there as well. And obviously, hands down, he's going to be better than Fred and McTominay, like combined. They could literally join together and he would just run rings around them, right? But and again, I guess a lot of people are going to be excited about this guy because he is an out-and-out number 6, that defensive midfielder that's going to sort of shield the back four and help Harry Maguire out and Martinez, and you know, play on the half turn, and he's very kind of press resistant, and he's a very good player like that. But again, he's going to demand a huge wage. It's going to cost an obscene amount of money to get him in. I'm seeing a lot of tweets about that he's not necessarily ruling out a move to Manchester United, but again, I think it just doesn't. For me, again, it's just more desperation. But as I say, at least he would be the right type of desperation, I guess you could say. At least he's although he is an aging player, he would be a small step in the right direction. But again, what length of the deal is this going to be? I think no doubt that Erik ten Hag has obviously kind of assessed and watched back those last 2 games against Brighton and Brentford and seen how poor we actually are in midfield. You know, it's one thing looking in pre-season and kind of assessing then, but when you're actually coming up in competitive matches, in competitive scenarios and situations, that, you know, you truly do see how lackluster we are in midfield, and obviously the depth that we don't have in midfield. And he obviously he can't trust Donny van der Beek, he can't trust Garner. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, we need to bring in at least one midfielder, right? And I think 2 is what I'd be looking to bring in. I think if we don't bring in at least one midfielder, then honestly, I'd be scared at where we end up by January window, because if we don't get a midfielder now, then I'd say no doubt in January we're going to get 1 or 2. But from that period between now and January, I dread to think we could honestly end up 15th or something. You keep nicking our players. I think Arsenal could go invincible this season and United not win 1 game. Ronaldo should join the Arteta revolution. He and Jesus could get 50 goals combined, says Zane. Don't bring that over here, Zane. Don't bring that over here. Keep nicking our players. Don't give me that. Not about it. But I don't disagree with you, man. I think you know, if Ronaldo did join Arsenal, I'm surprised he hasn't been linked with them, to be fair. Why are you so sure he would come in and score goals we don't create for our strikers? I mean, I'm only saying that, the Rossinator. I'm only saying that because, thanks for 25 months, by the way. It's a long time. But yeah, I'm only saying that because he's obviously spent a long time at Arsenal and did score goals kind of no matter what, right? And I think, yes, we haven't been creating chances for our striker. But he would be a different type of striker to Ronaldo, and I just think, just from his record of, you know, scoring goals, and I mean, as you say, we don't and didn't create chances for our strikers, that being Ronaldo last season, but he still managed to score, you know, a bundle of goals. So I think if Aubameyang did come in, he'd not get as many as Ronaldo. Don't get me wrong, but I think, yeah, he would no doubtedly score, you know, between probably 10, 15, but then how much of that do you share with Martial and the, you know, the other, because Aubameyang can play out obviously on the wing as well, that kind of left or predominantly left side where he can cut in. He can do that as well. So I don't know, maybe it's just versatility that Ten Hag is kind of wanting. Maybe if he can bring in just 1 or 2 more players, but they can play in a handful of positions, then maybe that is kind of what he's wanted to do. Talking about versatility, guys, we can move on to some links with Manchester United and Christian Pulisic. And we can put a tweet up on screen, hopefully, of MUFC are considering signing Christian Pulisic from Chelsea on loan. That's coming in from Andy Mitten. A little bit about Pulisic. He played 38 games last season, scoring 8 goals, got 5 assists. He did actually miss a fair few games last season due to injury. I think it was 11 Premier League games and then 3 Champions League games, which is obviously a worry. But it seems to be almost like another recurring thing that Manchester United are linked with these, either obviously coming out of contract players or ones that didn't play so much last season and have poor injury records. Because there's also another tweet we can hopefully bring up on screen that MUFC are interested in Chelsea's Hakim Ziyech and Callum Hudson-Odoi and Christian Pulisic. So yeah, I think the Pulisic one for me, again, he's a young raw talent guy. He's only 21, I think. He can obviously again play across. He's played in a multitude of positions last season. He played left. He played actually centre forward. He played as a second striker in the 10. He played on the right as well. So maybe it is versatility that Ten Hag is actually looking for. What position do you think that he'd play the most in or feature the most in? I think it probably would be out wide, maybe on that, I don't know, right-hand side, so he can cut in on his left foot. But I think for me, it's a little bit more of an exciting signing. But what does this mean for your Rashfords, your Sancho, even like Alanga, Garnacho? Is he actually going to come in and put pressure and play over Rashford and Sancho? Even though these guys, he's 23, there you go. Sorry. Thanks for correcting me. Still young though, right? 23, he's younger than me. But yeah, what does it mean? Is he, as much as I think Rashford and Sancho have been very poor, is he actually going to come in and play in front of these guys? Is he going to why would Chelsea want to loan him out without guaranteed game time to help improve his performances and his footballing ability? Like, teams don't want to loan someone out and then not have that loanee playing, right? That defeats the purpose of a loan. The whole point of a loan is you go out and play football. But I don't know. Again, as I say, what does it mean for Alanga, Garnacho, even the likes of Chong? And I don't know. Do these players end up going out on loan? I'd love to see Garnacho feature, throughout the season. I think again he's a young, hungry guy and has got that raw talent that hopefully Ten Hag can obviously mold him into the player that he wants to. And I do think it actually feels a little bit weird, the fact that Manchester United are linked to signing a player from Chelsea. I think it's really odd. But you guys are saying Rashford is far better than Pulisic, and I think the thing, and I think the point with Pulisic is, or the point that I've kind of determined is, and I have a lot of friends who are Chelsea fans who would actually be quite happy to see him go. I think the thing is he's not that great in front of goal. There's loads of times where he's come on. I think it was actually even against Liverpool in one of the finals where he had a chance that was kind of out of nothing, and which he should be scoring, and he didn't. And there's a lot of times where I think he's done it, which a lot of Chelsea fans are going to be obviously disheartened about. But as I say, I think he would be a useful option to strengthen the squad and be that kind of impact sub. But again, as I say, why would Chelsea want to loan him out and him not get guaranteed game time? Unless Ten Hag is going to be that guy, a little bit like Pep, that almost does this like rotation roulette, and he just can't do it at the minute because there's not enough options in the squad. We know Ten Hag has obviously been going on in saying that he doesn't have enough options. We need to sign players, but the right players. But now it's obviously becoming desperation time, right? And it just seems that every hour there's a new player that we're obviously like in for, not even scouting, right? This is another worrying thing, is we haven't even been scouting these players. They're just ones that are almost being offered to us. But again, as I mentioned earlier in one of the tweets about the links with Ziyech as well, we were linked with him a couple of weeks ago, I believe. So yeah, what do we know about Ziyech? I mean, in my opinion, there's better options out there, obviously, of the likes of Anthony, and he would be my first choice of kind of that winger position. But I think he could do a good job. Again, it would be a squad depth option for me. I think it would be he is versatile. And to be fair, when he actually moved from Ajax to Chelsea, I was actually quite jealous. I remember, obviously, this was the time where Ziyech and Donny and Frankie de Jong and De Ligt were all at Ajax. And obviously, their team was incredible, right? And he looked like a great player. And he's a very kind of different winger. He's not a traditional winger in the sense of a fast-paced guy that's going to run past people. He's very technical. He's got very good passing range, very good left foot, and maybe that is what Ten Hag is looking at as an Antony alternative. Someone that's going to be able to cut in from that right-hand side and deliver balls into the box, have a little bit of a different option. But he hasn't. Let's be honest. He hasn't lit the world alight at Chelsea. He hasn't had the best of times. He scored quite a few decent goals, I think, for them. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure what you guys think. Again, get your comments in. But about what do we think of Callum Hudson-Odoi as well? He's also another one who suffered a lot with injury last season. So again, it seems like a recurring thing. Like I don't know if it's like we just want these injury players that we might get a little bit cheaper. Obviously, Bayern Munich put in a bid for Hudson-Odoi a couple of seasons ago, I think, a significant bid, and Chelsea turned it down. So it's a bit odd to be linked with him. Obviously, he's a very young prospect. He is 21. He obviously has a high ceiling of potential, which is, again, a brilliant thing. But he's probably only shown glimpses of promise at Chelsea. He hasn't lit the world alight. He hasn't done kind of the things that a lot of Chelsea fans were probably hoping for him to do. Last season, he played 28 games, 3 goals, 9 assists. Again, as I say, suffered a lot with injury. I think it's another. I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know if this far is as far as desperation. It's maybe like calculated desperation, but again, I just can't see it. I just can't see Manchester United going and getting Callum Hudson-Odoi. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't really get it, and I think at the end of the day, being linked with Chelsea players is very strange to me. It's not something that happens often, when a Man United player moves to Chelsea or vice versa. And I think it's a very, very odd one. But we can bring another tweet up on screen here. MUFC want to sign Gladbach keeper Jan Sommer as David De Gea's backup and potentially his competitor. So obviously, I'm guessing we're all FIFA players here. We're all kind of Football Manager and FIFA players. So I think obviously we're going to know who Jan Sommer is. He's been around ages. He's been at Mönchengladbach since I think 2014. I want to say he's obviously played. I think he's had 86 clean sheets in 326 games. So he's been there a long time. His deal does expire next summer. Again, is this just a Ten Hag is seeing the option of a keeper that's going to be cheap? I think anywhere we're looking at 5 to 10 million maybe. I think if you is he looking at De Gea and is he feeling a little bit worried? What does he offer that Tom Heaton doesn't? I can't say I've watched too much of him. I can't say that I know he's very good at playing out from the back. Or just going off of his clean sheet record, it's obviously not great. But again, it's a cheap option, and I think that is what Manchester United are going to look to do over these next 2 weeks. Is probably go out there and make one big signing, and then maybe 2 or 3, hopefully, like cheap kind of signings that where their deals are running out. You never know with the amount of players that we're obviously being linked with. Is it we're just going to go and make like 5 signings? I very much doubt it. But I think there's a lot of people saying in the comments De Gea needs to be replaced. Sommer is all right. Get him. I mean, I can't really say too much in terms of like his ability. All I know is that obviously, as I say, his clean sheet record wasn't too good, or isn't too good, I should say. But again, that he's not playing in the greatest of teams. Let's be honest. Borussia Mönchengladbach isn't a great team in the Bundesliga, but I think he's 33. I want to say so. He's around a similar age to De Gea. Again, it's probably just going to be another deal of like 1 to 2 years. But I think obviously the shorter the deal that these players are going to possibly get, the higher the wages that they're going to want, because obviously then they'll go and need to find, kind of elsewhere another club. So it's another difficult one. I'm not sure what you guys think on Jan Sommer. I think, Bargain Basement FC, we're struggling big time. We are struggling big time. But again, I saw actually a comment earlier saying talk about Dest, and we can actually bring a tweet up, I think, hopefully on Dest, about the talks between MUFC and Barcelona for Serginho Dest for a fee of 20 million euros are at the final stages. Now, this is interesting, right? So Dest is obviously quite a versatile right back. He can actually play left back as well as occasionally he has featured, I think last season, as sort of like a right winger, right mid type role as well. He has obviously played under Ten Hag before at Ajax. He played 36 games for him, scoring 2 goals and getting 6 assists in 2,700 minutes. So I think again, it just depends why he's being brought in. If he's being brought in as obviously that, because we know Ten Hag rates Dalot. So is he being brought in again? He's young, so is he being brought in as that backup option when or if Wan-Bissaka is moved on? We obviously don't really know the situation with Wan-Bissaka just yet. Obviously, he has been kind of, on the market for other clubs for a while now. So I think admittedly, if obviously Wan-Bissaka does leave, that obviously does leave us with pretty much just Dalot as our right back. So we will need to bring someone else in. So is this possibility, this signing the possibility that Wan-Bissaka does move on? I think him obviously, as I say, being versatile is, again, it seems to be a key thing that Ten Hag is looking at. A player that can play in multiple positions and cover if there was injuries or someone out of fitness, or for cup games or Europa League. And I think that's one thing that he is obviously looking to do, and which is desperate, I will say, is the we've got a lack of a proper squad, right? He probably gets halfway through a game, turn around and looks at the bench and thinks, Jesus, like what have I got on the bench? What am I going to bring on? You look at Brentford when he dropped Scott McTominay for that horrific performance against Brighton, and he turns around and he's having to bring Scott McTominay on. I think that only shows, right, like that he can't trust what he has on the bench in Garner and Donny. Admittedly, I'd 100% play James Garner and Donny van der Beek over Scott McTominay off the back of the past 2 performances. But I mean, blimey, like this is getting a bit silly, the amount of players that we're being linked with. I mean, yes, I would take Dest for the right fee. I think if 20 million euros is a factor, I think as long as obviously he's going to probably share the game time with Dalot, I'd say maybe have Dalot as the main right back, and then develop Dest, develop his game time and develop his game under Ten Hag again, and slowly integrate him into the team, whether it's through the cups, through Europa League, etc. But again, these players have got to be willing to sacrifice that, and we just don't know if they are going to be willing to move to us, especially with the state we're in, and be that bit part player, should we say. I don't know if they're going to be willing to do that. Even the likes of Aubameyang, I imagine he's going to want to come in and start, and I'm not sure with Dest. Maybe he has obviously a close relationship with Ten Hag, whether he's happy to be kind of nursed into the team and see a few minutes here and there. I'm not sure, but I think the main thing is that we do seem to be looking at various positions to obviously strengthen, which, as I have said many a times on many a show, there's too many plugs in our squad to fix. There's way too, in this one window, there's way too many, and probably as we go on throughout the next couple of transfer windows, there'll be more that pop up, no doubt. It's natural, right? But I think I like the fact that we're going in for all these different players, and I rate it. But we can move on to a little bit about Harry Maguire, actually, and bring up another tweet on screen from Samuel Luckhurst. Erik ten Hag is seriously considering dropping Harry Maguire for the Liverpool game. Hallelujah. Thank God. How long has it taken? It shouldn't have taken this long for him to understand this, right? Like, how has he been given the captaincy to start with? Admittedly, I do understand that it would be difficult, but it shouldn't be difficult to strip, the captain of captaincy if you go about it the right way. I think the fact that, this guy has been playing awful for so long, yeah, and even to come out with these interviews last season and be like, I've been playing under 4 managers now, and I'm captain under all of them. I can't be playing that bad. It's just naivety. It is, honestly, it's just naivety. And I mean, at the end of the day, if we got him for a decent fee of like 30 million, then we probably wouldn't be complaining as much. But if we got him for 30 million, he wouldn't be our club captain anyway. Obviously, he was heavily pushed under Ollie. The fact that he was 80 million and obviously probably played a big factor in why he was made captain as well. He was obviously labelled as the next kind of big thing defender that Manchester United were going to have, and it's just really not worked out for him. And I think the fact that I think as well from the article that Samuel Luckhurst has linked with the tweet is that with Maguire possibly not starting, it would be Varane and Lisandro Martinez that will take up the centre-back positions. Ultimately, I still do think that Maguire will start. I just can't see him not starting against Liverpool. I think it is the right call for him to be dropped, but I do think that he won't, especially after Martinez got dragged off at half time against Brentford. I just think he won't then kind of go back on it. I thought to be fair, my prediction would be Maguire and Varane. I thought Varane looked all right against Brentford when he came on. I was surprised when Martinez got dragged off, but yeah, I think as well we can. And this is the thing, right? Like a lot of players seem to be kind of now throwing their toys out the pram with Ten Hag. And again, this is from Samuel Luckhurst saying, MUFC dressing room sources say some players feel that Erik Ten Hag's approach does not suit their attributes, and they would favour a more pragmatic approach against Liverpool. Now, this is actually ridiculous. Like the players almost throwing the manager under the bus after 2 games. Like there's genuinely no hope for our team if this is true, and the player, like, why this is Liverpool, yeah, and I understand that players are probably going to assess the situation of the past 2 games and think, we're probably, if we play like that, we're going to get dominated, right? We've been dominated for the past 2 games, conceding 6 goals, scoring 1, and it wasn't even one of our players. So we haven't even scored a goal. None of our team has scored a goal. And I like it, but it's not the Manchester United way. You want to go out there and you attack these games. Like this is one of the biggest games of the season, like already, right? Like one of our teams, Manchester United or Liverpool, next Monday at around 10 o'clock, one of us will not have a win in 3 games. Like this is huge. This should be a game that these players go and they get right up for. They should think, right, we've played absolutely diabolical for the past 2 games. But Liverpool haven't been much better. They've dropped points. We go and beat them. We go above them. There's all of a sudden this massive lift in the change room, and hopefully it snowballs. And there's obviously huge sort of things that can lead on from that. And I don't understand why we're going for this pragmatic approach. Like it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. And there's comments saying drop those players, and agreed. I think like honestly, I'm not sure who you guys think these players are going to be. It certainly won't be the likes of Ronaldo, right? He's not going to be saying we need to play pragmatic against these guys. Pragmatic to me is screaming that we should sit back, soak up pressure, hopefully hit them on a counter attack, and hope to not lose 5-0. Now, I appreciate that going into this, we're going to be heavy underdogs. We're not going to be probably the bookie. Well, definitely not going to be the bookie's favourites. Let's face it. And I think a lot of people are going to be betting on Liverpool to win. Like we're talking. Well, they beat us 4-0 and 5-0, I think, last season, whatever it was. So we're going to be looking at, people are going to be predicting, a good probably 7-0. Like that is genuinely people's predictions. And they'll be serious about it. Like it's not even a joke. There's no banter in that whatsoever. But there's just some part of me that thinks, you know what, like if there's ever a time for this group of players just to play well, is even if we nick a point after the two first games that we've had, even if we go and nick a point and show what we've got and properly show that Ten Hag style of play. Because honestly, if we go to Liverpool and lose again, to be fair, we can go to Liverpool. We can lose, even if it was 1-0, 2-0, but we can show that we properly about it. We mean it, a bit of team spirit, a bit of all this, and still lose. That still happens. That does still happen. And obviously it will look a lot better and feel a lot better. But we could quite easily go and play Liverpool and get battered 4-0 again, 5-0 again, and all hell's broken loose, and we're the laughing stock once again, rock bottom of the table still, with bloody -9, -10 goal difference, with not a hope in sight. And hopefully some players can get brought in before, because this lot who are saying, who want to favour the more pragmatic approach can honestly, they can just leave. Honestly, I don't care who they are. It's ridiculous. Why would you want to go and play a pragmatic style of football against Liverpool and probably play into their hands? If anything, when we've played Liverpool in the past, the likes of Rashford, who can get in behind, expose Trent and that for who's not the greatest at defending. Don't get me wrong, Trent is an unreal right back, but Rashford has exposed him in the past. Like this should light the fire inside you to go out and play. I've played in, admittedly nowhere near the games that these guys are, but I've played in like local derbies and rivalries that it's the games that you look forward to. It's the games that when you look at the fixtures, you look when you're playing Liverpool, you look when you're playing Manchester City. These are the games that you should be looking forward to the most. If you're not going to play well all season, you make sure that you put in a performance against these teams, because if you don't, then you truly are a laughing stock. And yeah, I mean, I think I could rant and go on for days about people, the people's approach to different games. I mean, each to their own right, but I just don't agree with it. Just hopped on, saw something about Pulisic loan. Yes, mate. Pulisic, yeah, we were basically going for Pulisic. A loan deal pretty much, and I just kind of ran through what we know about Pulisic and the possibilities. But to me, as much as it wouldn't be too bad, it doesn't really make sense on Chelsea's behalf, depending on how much game time he's going to get, etc. But yeah, I just think, guys, and again, get your comments in. These players who are kind of leaking that they want to throw the manager under the bus, they want to go for a pragmatic approach. I just don't understand. I just don't understand their mentality. Like their mentality must truly be rock bottom. Like I can just imagine the changing room is full of, they sit all in groups and they just sit and just probably just bicker and are really two-faced behind each other's backs. And that is exactly the opposite of what we need right now. We obviously need a united, pardon the pun, dressing room, right? And that's the thing. I think the main thing is, hopefully, and I pray, hopefully, that next Monday when we're playing them, that at least we put a performance on and we show the grit and determination that the players can show. I believe they can show it, but time is running out for a lot of these players, and they're hiding. Yeah, I agree. They're hiding, and there's not many places for them to hide. Much more. I think the writing's on the wall for them. I think that slowly people are, and I'm one of them, right? I was until kind of towards the end of last season, and that I was very firmly thought that the likes of Rashford, even Maguire to a certain extent, have still, there's still a player there. We can still necessarily develop them, and with the right kind of manager and players around them, they can be good. But no, it's slowly running out, and I just think that the players are losing a losing battle. No matter this whole leaks and the pragmatic approach and all this just needs to stop. The dressing room leaks, that they were meant to all stop when Ten Hag came in, and now they're out here trying to throw him under the bus. But again, I'm keen to get your opinions down in the comments, guys. But that is going to wrap up the show. I appreciate you for